Good day, everyone. Today I will discuss the importance of first aid. But first, let me introduce to you myself. My name is Vincent Paraganas Espirita, 15 years of age. My program is Bachelor of Science in Criminology, second year Block 3, student number 30893. I live in Barangay Butao, Santa Barbara, Pangasinan. I want to show that I am wearing my Type C uniform in compliance to the direction or instruction in doing this activity. Before I expl- Before I discuss the importance of first aid, let's talk about first on what is first aid. First aid is defined as the temporary and immediate care or treatment given to a person who has been injured or becomes ill unexpectedly while waiting for a rescuer or medical personnel to arrive. It is also defined as the first and immediate assistance given to any person suffering from either minor or serious illness or injury. Its main objective is not to cure the injury. I repeat, its main objective is not to cure the injury, but to bridge the gap between the injured person and the medical specialists. First aid provides three P's, which are to preserve life, prevent the condition from worsening, and promote recovery. First aid can save life or can save a victim's life by preventing immediate death from serious injuries and conditions like heart attack. Applying first aid can prevent the condition from worsening. In the case of a fracture, for example, moving the broken bones can increase the pain and bleeding and can damage the tissues around the injury, all of which can make the injury worse. And the first aid of using splint and tying it with the fractured area with a triangular bandage can immobilize it and prevent it from worsening. Applying first aid to the injury can also become the first step for recovery. For example, first aid in the form of applying a clean piece of cloth to the wound can prevent the wound from foreign bodies that can cause infection and help the wound to recover fast. There are also A, B, C, D, and E in the first aid. A, B, C, D, and E describes how a first responder or a first aider should react in an emergency situation involving an injured person. A stands for airway. Give attention to the airway. Make sure that there is no obstructed materials in the airway. B stands for breathing. Breathing and breathing determine the adequacy of breathing. Provide rescue breathing if necessary. C stands for circulation. Assess or check the pulse of the victim. D stands for dislocation. Check for deformities and, if necessary, employ a splint to immobilize the affected part. And E stands for external breakage of the in body tissue. Check if there are wounds. Use a sterile piece of cloth to apply pressure and avoid infection. So we have a knowledge about on what is first aid is. Now let's talk about why the knowledge in giving first aid are so important. First aid is useful for both preventing and treating unexpected illness or accidental injury, as well as caring for a large number of people caught up in a natural disaster. Having a knowledge in giving first aid are so important for helping ourselves, helping the others, for the preparation for disaster, and for safety awareness. Self-help. Having a knowledge in giving first aid is very important for helping ourselves. Knowing first aid can enable you to care yourself in the event of an injury or illness. Even if your personal condition prevents you from caring for yourself, you can instruct others on how to carry out correct procedures on your behalf. For example, for example, you accidentally cut your right hand with a knife, resulting in a major wound. If you have a knowledge about first aid, you can utilize it to treat your wound without the help of others. Having a knowledge of first aid is very important to help the other people. In learning, first aid can enable you to care for yourself, so it can also enable you to care for other people. For example, your brother accidentally swallowed a seed of santol and he felt difficulties in breathing because it totally blocked the airway. And knowing first aid allows you to do the Heimlich or Heimlich maneuver to remove the seed from the airway and save your brother's life. Having a knowledge in giving first aid is very important for the preparation for disaster. When medical and hospital resources are limited or delayed in the event of a crisis, first aid training is critical. Hurricanes, floods, earthquakes, tornadoes, explosions, and fires are examples of natural catastrophes. Knowing what to do in an emergency will assist you in preventing the panic and disorganized behavior that is frequent in such situations. And lastly, first aid is very important for safety awareness. For safety awareness. First aid training not only equips you with information and abilities to administer life support and other emergency care, but it also assists you in developing safety awareness and habits that encourage safety at home, at work, during recreation, and other roads and highways. It is critical to understand three terms while promoting safety awareness. First, cause, consequence, and prevention. And this is why having a knowledge on giving first aid is important. And that's all. Thank you for watching. Goodbye.